During this MOOC, we presented the issues and challenges associated with ADHD. In this video, I will present several solutions that may be useful if you're the parent or the teacher of a child with ADHD. My name is Velia Decoro, and I'm the coordinator of this MOOC. I'm also a psychologist, and I meet many children with ADHD and their families. The school interventions presented in this video may not work for every child in every situation, but here are a few that have worked for many children. So let's begin with distractibility. We often recommend placing a child with ADHD in the front rows of the classroom, facing the teacher, since it will keep their attention to see someone in front of them presenting the lesson. Another idea is to place them next to someone who is calm and studious, as the child will be able to follow better. The idea is obviously also to reduce all sources of distraction around the child. What might help is to keep the child away from a group of people who are making a lot of noise, and perhaps, unfortunately, from his favorite classmates to whom he might want to turn. Sources of distraction can also be present directly on the child's table. For example, he will play with pens, with a ruler, with a water bottle. In some cases, we recommend creating a sort of sterile environment where the child has only paper and a pencil, for example, to reduce the distractibility. Understanding instructions can also be a major issue for these children. Indeed, the information can be difficult to understand because the instructions can be long and/or complex. Therefore, they should be broken down as much as possible. So when it comes to oral instructions, we recommend giving them drop by drop, without giving too much information at the same time, and possibly asking the child to look at us directly in the eyes to make sure that he or she is following us. One idea might also be to ask the child to repeat what he or she has been asked to do. This way, not only will we be sure that he or she has understood, but it will also reinforce the working memory, since this repetition will help to better memorize the instructions. With written instructions, the child can be shown how to underline the important element of the instruction. In general, we recommend giving instructions at a time when there are fewer distractions, such as when there is little noise and movement around the child. When working with children with ADHD, you may also quickly notice that they have their head in the clouds, as we say. It can be useful to visually stimulate them when talking to them. So, for example, I will make a lot of gestures, pointing out the elements that are important to look at. The idea is really to mobilize the body and possibly to be more expressive so that the child can more easily follow what is being presented. This can also be done verbally, for example, by saying, "Oh, be careful, this is very important," which will help to take the child's attention. However, be careful with the rhythm of these interventions, as the child may have difficulty to follow if instructions are given orally and shown at the same time. Because we notice that for some children, attentional difficulties are observed more in one modality, auditory or visual. So it's really recommended to think about what support to use with these children. Many children also tell me that the teacher's involvement in the class, their passion for sharing their knowledge, their motivation in teaching, can have a great effect on attention. Since we know that children with ADHD often turn to the most appealing stimulus of the moment, we encourage those around them, so you, to be the most appealing stimulus, within the limits of what is impossible, of course. In view of the many careless mistakes that children with ADHD make, they can also be taught to proofread. So it's important to keep in mind that this requires an extra effort from a child who can also be very impulsive and rush to finish a task. However, with time, the child will be able to see the value of this rereading at the end of the activity. We often recommend that children with ADHD take breaks because we notice a decline in attention after a certain number of minutes, which can vary depending on the child. During these breaks, the child can, for example, play an activity that he or she enjoys, but from which it won't be too difficult to extract him or her. Because I don't want to get you tired, we will now take a small break and follow in the next video to talk about the strategies that can be implemented to help children with ADHD at school.